All right, today I am doing, what's it called? Animals with balloons. So I thought I would start with a lobster. I think lobsters are like one of those animals that like probably could be cute. You know, I started following on YouTube. I started following a, oh, hang on, I have volume on here. I started following a guy who is a lobsterman. My uncle was a lobsterman. So he did a lot of lobstering, right? He would go out on boats. And so we would always have lobster. He would grab them. But so I started following this lobster guy on YouTube. He's a Massachusetts lobsterman. He runs a boat. And my uncle, he went out from New York, from the end of Long Island. Uh, Dangerous job. I think any job at sea can be pretty dangerous, especially my uncle went out for days at a time. I had a brother-in-law. My brother actually, he went out for weeks at a time fishing. But yeah, so I think lobsters, like following this lobsterman on, I can't remember his name. He's from Massachusetts. He talks about all the different lobsters and stuff, and I think he even recently got his license to as an educator to talk about lobsters and to keep some in an aquarium for education purposes. All pretty neat. And so I thought I would do a lobster holding a balloon. Lobsters have like teeth in their crusher claw. And what's crazy to me is they just look like teeth. Like, you know, like some animals have teeth and you're like, oh, that's an animal tooth. And then like beavers and lobsters just have like human teeth. All right. I don't like their little arthropod legs, but it's an integral part to the actual lobster, so you got to put them in there. Some of these have little claws, but and then I know when you pick up lobsters and they're looking defensive, they put like their tails up. And they have this like fan on their tails. You know, if a lobster has a notch, I can't remember which, on one of these part of their tails, that means they're protected. You're not allowed to capture them. And it's to protect lobster populations. We have a habit uh, on the East Coast of eating things to until their populations are no longer. So, like New York the city used to have tons and tons of oysters. They loved them. You'd get oysters right out of the Hudson Bay. And I think the river also. And there's whole layers of New York archaeology that is just oyster shells, like oyster shells all the way down. But they ate so many of them that there was none left to capture. And what's also interesting is oysters help clean the water. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where these last couple of feet should go. I think this one here, let's have it like curve in. Okay. I have some colors. So we'll do some colors on this lobster guy. And that'll help us start getting some dimensionality and stuff. All right, let's erase some of these mistake legs, or the legs we didn't end up using. Alternate dimension legs. What is it like? I cannot remember. Mandela legs, because if we were in a different dimension, I would have used those legs. Okay. I don't listen, lobster's great. They're cool as animals, and they're also cool to eat. Although I don't like a lot of seafood. I don't eat a ton of seafood anymore. All right. Walrus, that's the one you want to see next with a balloon, holding itself up by a balloon. Dang. We got a tough crowd. If you're scrolling by, you like my lobster, you like the idea of animals holding themselves up by balloons. Ooh, a whale holding itself up by a balloon. We have a request for a walrus, and we have a request for a whale. Oh, okay. Walrus just said whale. Let's do it. I feel like that's kind of I'm thinking this lobster, I'm going to just kind of shade in a little bit back here. Kind of give it some solidness, and we'll do colors at the end if we want to do color. If we decide we want to do color. So I can start sketching the whale. Ooh, cat's pretty good too. Well, I think the whale we'll do first. Okay. Yeah, I think the lobster is the sketch is done. If we come back and color it, we'll save coloring for the end. I saw a whale once. Well, I've seen whales in real life. Do I want to do? Let's do, because it's like, I think one of the whaliest looking whales, not the humpback, not the blue whale. Like, yeah, let's do the blue whale. They're very whaley looking. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna probably add some color to that at the end. Or, after we'll see. We'll see. So this is like squeaking up against the paper, like a nails on chalkboard over here. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'm trying to think. That's where we'll put the balloons. So let's kind of sketch in where we're going to put the whale. Yeah, so I grew up on the ocean, near the ocean. And one time there was a whale that had washed up onto shore. And you can't just push them back. I don't remember why, but there's a thing where you can't just push them back. And it's kind of sad because you want to just be like, let's get you back in the water, buddy. But from my understanding, this is something they do on purpose. Like, they know what's happening. This is not an accident. Oh, a siren head. Oh, Jeff. Today we're doing animals being held up by balloons. But I was thinking of doing like a fan art day where I just do like, because I do request streams and that's good too. But I was thinking I could do like fan art where I just do a portraits of characters for people. Okay. It's funny. I was bad at drawing animals. Like I drew a lot of different stuff and animals was not on my list of things that I was good at. Um, and genuinely, I don't even know what started it. Somebody asked me to do an animal portrait, and it was really special. And I drew an animal in a hat as like I asked if anyone had any requests at all because I was just like in Discord, like wanting to draw something and kind of being out of ideas. And I was like, it'll be cool. I'll like engage with people in the server and they'll get a drawing and I'll get an idea. And someone said like a bear in a hat. And I was like, a bear in a hat? Like, I don't know. Like what? So then I did a bear in like a Viking cap. And the bear was hard, but I really liked it. It felt good when it was done. It didn't feel like I liked the illustration also. And then I took a bunch more requests and I kept really liking them. And that got me into drawing animals like regularly. Now, animals are one of the easiest things for me to draw well. Yeah, so I went and visited the whale that had washed up on shore, and it is one of my saddest and most powerful memories. It's like nothing else in this world. A Quest 3, is that the VR headset? All right. Maybe we should have done it from the mouth. They would like hold on to the mouth. But I think this is good. We'll figure this out. Yeah. Yeah, the whale on the beach, it was huge. It was huge. I even to like so you couldn't really see the whole thing at once you got anywhere nearby. And like they were keeping people pretty far away from it, but even then you still was like really close. Yeah, so how big is a I don't remember what kind of whale it was. Um I do remember it was still alive and still alert and it was looking at people and woof. Like when the whale turned its eye to you and like looked right at you, it was a very experience. I think I was gonna draw a few different balloons, but I think like one. Oh, let's do a few big balloons. Yeah, I could. I think I will draw it, just not on stream. I've been doing shorts where I tell stories about my life, as well as other types of shorts, but I think I'll tell that. I think I'll draw it and tell it on a short. Like how whales make noises. I thought you were gonna say like Wario. Wow. Okay, yeah. So now that I know we're gonna do three balloons. Now we're doing animals being held up by balloons today. Okay. So I want one balloon here. That's one. And we'll give it a, and then another balloon here kind of being pushed off. So they're all kind of pushed off center, but this one is pushed off center towards us. So it's not as it's not as you can't notice it from the front. Okay. Something like that. Make it three different strings. I like that idea. Little knot. And then this one's in front. So these will get erased. But I like to draw through things. It's something that I took a long time for me to start doing, but it definitely makes a difference when like even if something is going to be behind something else or occluded, you can you still should draw the whole thing and then just like erase the lines you're not going to see. Belugas, man, are crazy. Yeah, that's why I did the blue whale because it was the biggest one. I thought that was the funny one. Oh, beluga. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so we have what was another one? Cat, ostrich, cheetah. So we could try that. Belugas are crazy. Have you seen the clips? Like belugas will. Okay, so there's two crazy stories about belugas. One is there are belugas who will like they will just be super friendly, like to humans. They just really like seem to like us a lot. There's a couple of clips you can find where people drop things into the water and the beluga goes and gets it for them. Uh, so cool. And then there's a time there was a diver going to see a beluga in captivity, and he gets into the water and he just hears stop. He's terrified. He has no idea what happened. And we're pretty sure, like, there's no other explanation. So we're sure that the beluga just said that word to him in human language. It's, I should do a short about that too. It's a crazy story. Okay. I'm going to write down the short about, I will tell the story and draw me visiting the whale that was beached. I'm going to write that down now so I don't forget. It will show up sometime in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm also going to write down that story about the beluga whale. I don't know how to spell beluga. Uh, saying words and make sure that might not be 100%. I can't remember if it is actually a beluga whale. I'm pretty sure, but I'll do some research. Okay. Oh, and a VR headset. Yeah. All right. What else? Living by the water was pretty cool. What's another? Well, so then a few summers ago, I was just walked down to the beach to be there, and you could see off the coast the whales blowing blowing out their blowholes. And that was neat. Okay. Yeah, yeah. They I'll look into it and get more information, but from my recollection, it's pretty compelling. Um, really, and like we're sure the whale could do it, but it's not, I don't think oh, somebody else heard it. I think somebody else heard it. Okay. So we have the whale, we have the I love this lobster, so doofy. Okay. One thing that's interesting is trying to think about how the I'm gonna do ostrich next. I'm gonna save the cat to do with the cheetah. Let me grab our paper. Is trying to think like how the animals would be held up by the balloons. I'm pretty sure this is half remembered, so I really want to do more research, but I think that's because I was like convinced, and I'm not easily convinced by things. Um, so it might have just been like a really compelling story, but I think like there was pretty clear evidence that it was. So ostriches are crazy. They have like claws. Didn't a country? That's true. Uh, Huskies can talk for sure. I had a cat. They say cats can make all the human sounds. So, like in theory, like dogs can't make all the human sounds, but cats can. So, in theory, a cat could mimic human language. Um, I mean, if it could be arsed. Oh man, ostrich head. I did the S backwards. Um, and you can definitely find videos of cats sounding like people. Yeah, Olivia Morgan. That cats are really like that. So they did a study where they were trying to see if cats were colorblind, and basically they had a bucket with food under it, and they tried to make it so that like if the cat would go for the one with the food, then they could tell if it was colorblind or not. And essentially they were like, yeah, we think cats are colorblind for a long time. And then somebody did the experiment and they were like, they had this hunch that cats weren't colorblind. So they did the experiment and it just turned out that the cats just didn't care. They knew where the food was, they knew what was up, but they just did not care about the experiment. And so they just were not fully participating. And I just think that's so freaking funny. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, so I had a cat who said hello, and only when he was like stressed out or he was like he wanted really badly to get your attention, he would say hello, 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 and it was like it was so crazy. I'm trying to I want the I'm trying to get the ostrich to feel right because like if he's holding the balloons there, that doesn't really make sense. So maybe it's tied around him also. Maybe it's tied around him and like that. Maybe Yeah, so I'm trying to. Okay, I'm going to restart this ostrich. I think I just drew him too big on the page. That's why I had to start with the balloons for the whale. And I didn't do that with the ostrich, but I should have. Okay. So we're going to do the balloon first. So now, if the ostrich is holding on with his head, we think his body is probably going to be twisted like this. With his head, I mean his beak. And then maybe his legs are just, maybe we're just seeing his legs like here. Maybe we're seeing the underside. No, we'll see the side. I think it's still better to see the side. That's the butt pointing down. So his legs will be coming up here on the side. The legs go backwards. They don't, their knees don't bend forward. I bet you she does. I bet you she does. I genuinely believe cats can do this. Well, because I've heard it and the science says it's possible. So that's adorable. Man, ostriches. Oh, it wasn't it was emus that got into the war. That's my bad. Ah, yeah. And then the head comes up from the front. You're totally right, because like this looks normal now that the the body's pointing down. Yeah, cats, man. And like, I love the idea that they're smart enough to speak. They have the capability to speak, but they don't care. Like, they're like, you learn my language. I do like, they did a study about cat communication, and they were like, is it just simple um, wordage or is it closer to a language? And I don't remember the results, but I remember preliminarily they were like, it seems like it's complicated enough that it's closer to a language, which I feel like checks out. Okay. Ostrich's legs are so muscly and crazy. A lot of bird legs are like that, though. Oh, yeah. What's that? The weather's always warm in the spring, and it takes people forever to realize there's a mistake in it. The classic example. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Birds legs, man. Like, all right. I think the neck might be a little short, but I don't want to push my luck. And I'm just going to make the shape of the head more ostrichy. There we go. Oh, hey, Mumtaj Jaiswal. Pardon my poor pronunciation. Okay. Are ostriches as light as other birds? Like, you know how I mean, they're not as light as other birds because they're gigantic, but, you know, in relation to their size, because I'm just wondering if their bones are also hollow. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was like, you know what? This guy is freaking out. He's like messing with the string. And we'll clean up that balloon if and when we do a color on it. I'm just gonna make sure I don't confuse these bottom legs. I think that's pretty good for now. A solid sketch. We'll do more cleanup if we decide to color this one. All right, what do we got? Cheetah. Cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. Man, I haven't thought about cheetahs in so long. I like how, like, cats are all definitely cats, right? You don't look at a cat. I mean, the vast majority of times, you don't look at a cat and go, wait, why does that cat look so funny? You're like, oh, well, you might say, why does that cat look so funny? But they're like really recognizable as cats. The cheetah by its tail. Yeah, yeah. Foxes, I do think that about foxes. That I was gonna bring up foxes. Because foxes are canines, right? But it really feels like, wait, that's a dog? But I feel like with cats, you're always like, yep, cat. There is that one fox. So some foxes are very cat-like. So I think you're right. Yeah. Nope, that's too big. I always want to draw the animal too big. Okay, let's put the balloon. Okay. Yeah. So, I think we have to figure out where the cheetah. So I think we can do cheetahs have nice big long bushy tails. I think we can do the cheetah by the tail. Something like that. Bless you. And then which way is the okay. And then that's the butt. Hey, Nasir. Okay. This one's fun. This one's hard. And then you have like the sleek body. If we were going to do it just hanging straight down, you'd have the sleek body, the other, the like what would become the other front legs like that, and then like the long neck and the head. So it would just make it right to the bottom of the page. So okay, let's make the tail. Let's shrink it down a little bit. Oh, okay. Okay, I've had an idea. Oh yeah, I have to look up the links. I can't think of it. Wait, it's that little one? No. Isn't there's a very little cat. Well, it's like one of the smallest cats, or it might even be the smallest cat. And it is like the most successful prey hunter in the animal kingdom. I think like dragonflies are better, but they're not really in the animal kingdom. Wait, are dragonflies? I guess they are, but mammal. It's the most successful mammal. The normal, right? Hip, knee, ankle, foot. Hip, knee, ankle, foot. Long ass neck. Head turned that way. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Lynx. Cheetah's faces are really squat. I kind of like it. And they also have like roundy little ears. I like that too. I like cheetahs. I should draw more cheetahs. Whoops. Hip, leg, ankle, foot. I have to say this, otherwise I can't draw animal legs. Okay, I've gotten my size is a little messed up. You know, cats like hold up one. There it is. They'll like hold up a foot when they're like not sure what. That doesn't feel right. Like what's going on? Something like that. Currently looks like a monkey. Yeah, yeah. It can be because I want to make sure I make it look like a cheetah and not like some other cat. And so if that feels right for the size. That's the body. This is where that balloon's going to be. That's where I want the cheetah to be looking. Their eyes like a good predator right at the front of their face. Their tails are bushy and long. I'm going to lift the butt up a little. Harder than I thought, the cheetah, but lovely. I love it. Every time something's hard, you get better. Yeah, I was just thinking that, Unknown Planet. You're totally right. You I read your mind probably. I was like considering it and I decided not to, but now that you've said it, I will do it. And this one will be more off the ground, like actually off the ground. And this back one will just be touching. Or like not really touching. We'll be grazing the tops of the grass. Hey, Dakin. Dakin, sorry, Dakin. Now we gotta get in there and okay, the ears are round and they kind of are bigger than they come lower onto the head like that. They do kind of have a little forehead. Yeah, I was thinking we're gonna have to do some cheetah spots. But at least they're cheetah spots, which are just sort of random um, polka dots. It could be worse. It could be giraffes. Ugh. For some reason, I have drawn a lot of giraffes, and the way giraffe spots work, there's a couple different kinds, but it's sort of obnoxious. It's not their fault, maybe. Cheetah spots are actually pretty cool. Like, as a concept. Okay, so I didn't know for a long time. Yeah, Bengal. But like, so tigers really easy to see in the jungle, right? Like it's literally orange against green. Like that's so easy to see, right? Like how how much different could these be to each other? Only a little bit more different according to color theory. But I learned why this is, and I'm going to tell you as soon as my brain remembers what I'm saying. It's okay. So the prey animals that they're going after, mostly, what are they called scientifically? Ungulates, but like deer and that kind of horses, I don't know, those kinds of things. Oh yeah. They can't see orange. They see orange the same as green. Yeah, that's exactly right. And like, oh, so like they're actually incredibly well camouflaged. And I just think that's so neat because they're camouflaged, but like can still see each other really well. That's my guess as to why. I don't know if we have an a theory as to why they're orange instead of green, but like I guess it's the same. Like evolution hit on orange and was like, "Yep, that works," because they can't see them. So like that would be enough. Yeah, like color vision is so astounding, right? So, we see however many colors a lot, right? And that's just with three sensors and three pretty good sensors for sure. But if we had more sensors, more cones, rods, gametes, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, RGB. But if we had more sensors, we could see more. Well, there's one group of humans who has more sensors. So it was theorized that they're not seeing more colors like outside of the color range. They're seeing colors in between other colors, which I think is interesting. And what that means, sometimes they're seeing colors where other people can't. Um, yeah, so it was theorized that women of colorblind sons should be able to see more colors than the average person. Should be able to tell the differences between a finer change of color than the average person. And they can. They can by quite a bit. And it's because they have not only the regular RGB or whatever it is, RGB, um, like gametes, or I think they're gametes, but color sensors, right? They have the three that everyone has that can see. But because it's on the X chromosome and there's a broken X chromosome, a broken one of these, they also have the broken one that can't really see very good. But it can see a little bit. Like this might be an R broken one, or it might be I forget, an R, G, or B, right? It's one of those ones, and that's why. So if they had, this is like the healthy one, let's call it the R one. So they have like a double copy, and this one sees different things than the healthy one. And so when they would pass the genes on to their children, their sons, because their daughters would get uh, from their dads too, they get the R, and then these two, or sometimes you don't, right? That's why sometimes, but that's what would make a colorblind. Sometimes a colorblind mom doesn't have a colorblind son, or women are barely ever colorblind. And if they were, they would definitely have a colorblind son. So I shouldn't have said sometimes a colorblind mom doesn't have a colorblind son because that's not true. All right. I think I did a terrible job explaining that, but that's a short I want to make. I always say I'm going to make that as a short because I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating. And then there's experiments and it we figured it out in like the 50s or something. It's pretty cool. Oh, thank you, unknown. And it was theorized before it was proven. And like there's interviews with these women who can see this. Oh, and they can see really good at night. And they say basically the biggest thing from one of the women who was an artist was interviewed who has this gene and this color sense. She said the biggest thing for her was like when most people see gray, she doesn't. She like sidewalks aren't gray. They're like all sorts of different colors. And like at night when the moon is shining and it seems like kind of everything's washed out, she's seeing a bunch of different colors. So that's what she was saying. Those are two examples that I remember. So she does paintings where she tries to capture her vision, like how she sees, so other people can see it. That's not bad. I think this guy came out okay. We got to do the balloon. And let's make the ground better. All right. What time is it? Okay, I can do still more. Okay. Oh, sloth and boar are the next two. It's getting cold. Why do I have to put in a little in our apartment? The main room of our apartment, we live in a one bedroom, so the main part of the apartment gets pretty warm, stays warm even in really cold weather. It's great. We don't know. We have, um, radiator heating. So, but okay, let's go over what we got. We got cheetah. We got ostrich. We got lobster. And we got whale. I think the whale still my favorite. Lobster close second. And then cheetah. And then ostrich. Yeah, we'll put them in order of my tastes. Okay. So now we're going to do sloth. That's fun. Because, so sloths hang upside down like all the time, right? I read a book. It was like a fantasy novel, and there was a sloth, and everyone's like, "Oh, this guy, you're bringing him to help." And then it was like a magical princess woman sloth. Pretty interesting. I guess I'm not really selling it, but one of my favorite jokes when I was young. You might have heard knock knock. Who's there? Interrupting cow. Interrupt moo. But I remember I heard um, interrupting sloth. And then instead of interrupting, you just like slowly move your hand as if you're trying to interrupt. And that's always fun. Okay. Sloths are ridiculous because their arms are like, wow. And then their heads are like, and then their legs are normal. This is like what a sloth looks like with no tree to back it up. Why are their arms so long? I feel personally affronted. Okay. So let's see. Balloon again. I think, I kind of want to do like one of those like weather balloon types. And then if you have the sloth, like sort of hanging off the bottom. And he's like, hey, what are you doing here? But like, he's the doing here. It's him who's doing here, actually. Well, I learned sloths are sometimes like look green, but it's actually just because they move so slow that like algae grows on them. I think that's great. Okay, we got one arm. The other will be kind of well, it starts behind them, so we don't see that. And then this one, the leg, which I already said before, very short. Hang on, let's just get the. We'll have this arm, we'll be able to see like the top of this arm. That's kind of what it would look like already. They're kind of they kind of have like a bandit's mask, like raccoons. Sometimes I draw little eyebrows on creatures, like a hint of an eyebrow, even though they don't really have eyebrows. Because it just like it helps to finish the face in a way that makes it look more like a face to us as humans. Oh yeah, and then like the back leg. Okay. So I think this is okay. I think it's time to add in some of the Wolverines. Let's see a couple come over the top here. Same here. Oh, And then I don't think we'll really see. We'll do just a bit there. And I guess we should make this a little bit more actually a thing. The what are when it's a weather balloon, is it still called a payload like it is with like a rocket? I do not know. Man, it, you know, as you get older, you don't see a lot of balloons, right? It's not like a thing that you're dealing with on a regular basis. But I didn't find out for like years that the county I lived in had banned helium. I guess there was that helium shortage. And helium is a finite resource, one of the most common elements in the universe, but it's really hard for us to get. So we get all of it from, I think, mining natural gas or something. But yeah. Okay. This is fine. Let's give them some fur because they furry. What time is it? 9:17. Okay. I'm trying to learn, so I'm American, and I'm trying to learn Celsius. I already know meters and kilometers, and kilograms, not great, but I'm not bad. But temperature, never good at. I mean, I'm fine with Fahrenheit. I wasn't good with metric temperature. So I'm trying to learn. And I found that like you want to be able to, you want to get to a point where like you just know, like, so inches, I know how big an inch is. Oh, inches. Like from here to here is about an inch. And that means it's 2.5 centimeters. 2.4 really, but 2.5 is fine. So I learned centimeters, but I started learning centimeters by going, okay, well, how close to an inch is it and stuff like that. And so you have to start somewhere. You start from your frame of reference, and then as you use it more and more, you start going like, oh, okay. I stopped using inches below a certain threshold. Like basically, if it's less than half an inch or a quarter of an inch, especially, I use millimeters because it just makes more sense than being like, well, it's 3/64ths of an inch. I'm like, that's not, get out of here. Well, this might be my favorite one now. Okay. I think I won't color anything today. I think we can save these for a touch up and a color for another stream. I think these have all been really fun. But I am going to go. Thank you guys so much for being here. I don't know. I missed a stream this week, so I want to try to get another stream in, but I'm not sure when it's going to be. But be on the lookout. Thanks, guys, so much. Yeah, we'll do a stream soon, and we'll color these. Maybe it'll be a computer stream. I haven't done one of those in a while, and I haven't colored on the computer in quite a long time. All right, bye. Bye.